What is happening, everybody? True Evil here, and today I want to talk about the possibility of a balance patch because a lot of people are saying it's going to happen before Season 1 RTA hits an Etheria restart, and I want to give my thoughts on that because I do think because so many people are talking about it, if they don't do a balance patch, people are going to get mad, and two, if they do a balance patch, I think this could be even worse than not doing a balance patch, in my opinion. And I'm going to talk about that in this video. But of course, this also could just be a great balance patch and really fix a lot of problems a lot of people are having with the game. So without further ado, let's talk about what people are hoping are going to get balanced. So the reason why doing a balance patch is going to be difficult in this game is when people are saying what the three big problems in the game are, they aren't actually characters in the game. What they're talking about, of course, are shells and matrices. And it's two shells in particular and one matrix. Let's talk about the matrix effect first, which is Bloodbath. Now, Bloodbath is a really difficult one because of course, you need this to survive revelation hits, especially right now because people are doing quad revelation, which means, of course, well, they're trying to just blitz you down, and it's really scary when a support unit can do 50% of your HP, like with a Freya, for example. So getting that lowered to like 30-35% with this is really huge. Now, of course, the other two things are shells, and the one that I use on my account, of course, is Lighthouse, which makes it so when you take over 25% of damage, you heal and boost in the turn meter. And this really helps you cut into those revelation cleaves and makes it so that you can really just stabilize and win the game. So the other one is Revelation, of course, which basically what it does is makes you do a bazillion amounts of true damage. And the reason Revelation is OP, of course, is because you can put it on anything. And that's actually the problem with Bloodbath as well. What a lot of people are doing now is they're running Revelation with, say, like Messiah and Yeli, and they're also putting Bloodbath on those two. And the reason for that, of course, is so you can't cut through and beat them down before they do their revelation target, or if someone's running someone like a Hoyon, for example, if Hoyon targets something with a Bloodbath, it's not going to be that one shot, which is really expected of that skill 3. So we're sort of in that like conundrum where it's just like these two shells make it so you kind of have to like focus in on an account. You're either running an account with like 4 revelations for lighthouses, or you're doing like 8 lighthouses, or you're doing 8 revelations, or at least that's what it feels like. And when I talk to a lot of my friends, that's what their accounts look like. For example, one of my friends who's one of the top bruiser players in the game, he has 8 lighthouses built, and pretty much that's all the only shells he has. So the biggest problem with that, of course, is with a balance patch. If they nerf any of those shells, what does it do to someone's account? That's like over a month of shell farming. How is that going to like stabilize? And when I say a month of shell farming, of course, that's including max refreshing on those. And shells are extremely expensive in this game. And I honestly think that you can't nerf them because of that, because a shell is going to cost anywhere between, I would say, 2 million shell credits to 300 million shell credits, and that's of course because of the RNG rolls on the passives. You can be stuck in forever, like for example this lighthouse on my Tia, if you look at this, is Rockin' Blue Shadow Dash, and that's because, well, I have re-rolled at least 100 times and not have gotten anything better. So yeah, you could be stuck in like an RNG limbo phase with that. And like, how do you replace the currency? I don't think there's a way to really track that. So if you make all of someone's shells unusable, right, that just bodies someone's account, and there's no real way to fix that, especially with like something as easy as like a character reset. So that's the really difficult thing, I would say, on a patch. If you nerf Revelation, it makes the other thing way too strong. If you nerf Lighthouse, I mean, I don't even I would probably not play the game because Revelation is really, really scary right now. So we're kind of in that situation where it's just like the problem isn't the characters, it's the shell effects. And I think the only thing to do is to implement just like now the three things that are going to really fix this game and be better than an actual balance patch and fix the underlying problems with PvP is we need more shell credits. And we've been begging for this. They've done like these little, here's a little bit of porridge, and giving us like the gold shells that give you a little bit more shell credits, but they're not enough to actually counter. Because I watched in these hyper talks and they said they want us to do is counter like Revelation with other shells, but to counter something that all they have to do is build more of it. Like the meta at the end of season 0 was teams of 4 revelations, teams of 4 lighthouses. To counter that, you're going to need like 8 of those shells, right? So if I wanted to say I think amber counters everything, I'm going to need to build like 5 amber shells, which is going to take more than it's going to probably take 3 weeks of max refreshing to really get enough shell credits and reroll passives, and in that time we're not really farming modules and things like that, and you're probably going to need that if you need bloodbath pieces or stuff like that. So we just need more shell credits, because I do think people will still farm, people will still max refresh, people still need modules. I doubt there'll ever be a time where people feel like their modules are all red speed rolls. So I do think it's okay to give us more shell credits, give us better chances of getting good shells, because these shells actually make it so a lot of people feel like they can't do PvP, and that makes people feel like they don't want to play the game because they want to play PvP, the PvE is overtuned, blah blah blah. And if something like gets nerfed in a way, like say if all they're doing is building lighthouses and lighthouse gets nerfed, I don't know how you compensate that, and I do think someone will get mad and quit the game for that. So in that respect, I think just giving us more shell credits, better chances of rolling things, and I think honestly the best way to do it is probably every 10 runs guarantee one of the triple matrix shells, one every 10 like a pity run, and get rid of the gold ones and just make everything red and worth double. So I believe that would make it so every red one is 10k. I think that's totally fine, because that means if I just like recycle all 9 of those shells, that's 3 rerolls and a possibility of good shell. So in my opinion, that's great. I think that would fix the economy, and that would make it so people are able to counter things, and it's just like people will enjoy the game, people will be able to get into PvP and try a lot of new things. So that is number 1. That has to be fixed. I do think the longer they wait and the more they kind of drag it out with like these tiny little things to make it a little bit better, it's just not enough, right? So I think that's going to be the biggest thing if they want player retention. So let's talk about the second thing. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, which will just help this game tremendously in terms of keeping players playing the game, is gold lattices. We need more gold lattices, and what I would say is the biggest thing I would change with this first is going to be, do not lock a gold lattice behind something that only about 200 players in the game are going to get this. And the last event, I think it was Cage Rumble, only like 50 people were able to get that last 15 gold lattice shards. Like, I just think locking something that's so important to building characters and being able to access PvP and enjoy the game should not be only allowed for the upper echelon players, because, like, let's face it, we want everyone to want to play the game, because if it takes you 2 months to get something, takes you 1 month to get something, why am I going to play this game, right? I could just quit and play another game that would respect my time more. And I think that this prize, would be better suited as like a character skin. A character skin would just be so much better, and just sort of lowering the prizes down. Say the gold lattice is for master rank or diamond. Now, I would say, you know, I would probably get rid of this one, or replace the gold apex, put that down here on the bronze rank, and just put a skin here and lower everything down by one, because it'll make it so more of the player base is going to be able to obtain those things so they can build characters and have fun. Because right now they're releasing, we're finally done with the double banners. They said we might get them in the future, I don't know, but right now they're going to be releasing one character every 3 weeks. And what that means is we're not necessarily even getting enough resources free to play to build that one character. And this is going to make it so people aren't going to pull on the banners because they can't build what they have. And it's just a whole lot of mess. So in my opinion, at least for now, what they should be doing is giving enough free resources to build a character every 2 weeks. And I think that would be really, really good, because people can build what they already have on their account, and we can start actually playing the game at a comfortable level instead of just feeling that pay to win aspect of it. So that's how I would go about the gold lattices, and I would make it so there's more events like Dazzler Pulse that will give you a gold lattice every week. I think any time they do one of those weekly events that doesn't give a gold lattice, that it's very detrimental. So I think one gold lattice a week on an event is necessary on top of everything else that we get. And I do think if they keep that up, we'll be able to build characters and actually be able to have fun. Because right now, I would love to build a Veronica and all these other things, but I just don't have the resources, especially with PvE the way it is, which is going to be the last thing I talk about. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is PvE, because I think it needs to be changed a little bit. And if they did this quality of life update, I assure that a lot of people would be happy, include mainly me, and it would make the game more money. And I'm going to emphasize this. If you do this, the game will make more money. And that is, make the PvE farming just a little bit way easier. And what I mean by that is, sure, I have a 100% win rate on Rengo, but it takes forever, as you can see. Like, I'm not going to lose. I mean, look at how many Whale Prayer stacks I have on my Holden. There's no shot I'm losing, but most people think you can't have a 100% win rate on this, and that's a little bit bad, right? Because one of the most important things in the game, actually two, Codex and Lighthouse, are locked behind Rengo. So because of that, I think this needs to be detuned 20% on HP and attack. And the reason for it is because I think lowering the HP value is going to make it so I can do this quicker. And that is my problem, which is, well, it takes forever for me to do this stuff. It takes over, I would say, 10 hours of auto playing, because it takes me 3 minutes a run, which is 15 minutes. So to burn one of my staminas, it's 30 minutes. And then if I only wanted to do this today and max refresh, well, that's a whole lot of time. And I do other things, so I'm not going to be clicking it immediately for it. And because of the continuous play, it's not an exact timer. One run might take 2 minutes, one run might take 5 minutes for some reason, I don't know, but we need to change that. And the other thing I would like changing is, right now at 3 stars you can do 10 runs, at 2 stars you can do 8 runs, and at 1 star you can do 5 runs. What I would like changed is that 1 star you can do 10 runs, 2 stars you can do 20 runs, and 3 stars you can do 30 runs. I think if you do this, it'll just save everyone a whole lot of time. And I would probably actually be able to use all of my stamina every day, which right now I am usually doing 8 or 9, which isn't pretty ideal. We want to make it so everyone who wants to max stamina refreshing should be able to. And right now it's sort of like penalizing people for not building hypercleave teams with like Didding, Kloss, Lily, Valerian, stuff like that, because one, not everyone has a Lily on their account. It's been over a month of me trying to pull this Lily and it's still not here. I don't even think she exists at this point. I don't even pull on banners anymore. I only pull for Lily. And come on, dude, just give me a Lily at this point. And it's freaking me out because there's a new light and dark unit, which means I'm probably not going to get a Lily. So yeah, I think making it so 10 runs, 20 runs, 30 runs, it'll just make it so I can use my stamina. And if people are able to use their stamina, they're going to be low on crystals, which means they're not going to use crystals for pools, which means they're going to pay for pools, yada, yada, yada. It's going to just make it so we can farm everything we want, and it's just going to make everyone enjoy the game. So please, please do this. If you only do one thing, I don't even care about having separate PvP and PvE gear. Please just change it so I can use my stamina. I really want to give you money. Please, just let me give you money and take my crystals away. I have 18k gems, and it's not even because I want to have 18k gems. It's because you won't let me use them, so let me use them. So yeah, those are the 3 things I think need to be changed in the game, and if they do, well, we don't need a balance patch because everyone is just going to be happy and being able to enjoy Etheria restart the best way possible, and I do want that to happen. So please take those 3 quality of life updates from my suggestions and at least do one of them, because I do think any of those 3 things are just going to improve the player base morale by a whole heaping lot and make this community the best and most positive community in the world. So let's keep it positive, guys. See you next time.